This interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of the video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard. Today is July 27th, 2012 at 10:30 a.m. This is an interview with Martin Yudkovitz in New York City, New York. He was born on April 2nd, 1954 in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And you eventually left NBC to become president of TiVo in 2003. Tell us about the experience. What was your vision for the company when you took over? And did you achieve the results you were aiming for?
Well, it was a big change because NBC was a great big company, had a lot of resource, a lot of money. It was owned, in fact, by General Electric, which was at the time the biggest company in the world. So you go from that environment to an environment of TiVo where it had 300 employees. It had never made a profit. It had very, very limited resources and very, very limited cash. And so it was a totally different environment and a totally different culture as well. But that was part of the fun. At that time, I'd been at NBC about 20 years, and I was looking forward to a change of environment, and it was a lot of fun. And what we were trying to do was basically three things. TiVo was a hardware company where a consumer had to go out and buy this box and then connect it up to his television, which usually meant connecting it to a cable box, which in turn was connected to the television. And it was a little bit complicated. And it took a couple of hours for a consumer to do this. And so our vision when I came aboard was, instead of making TiVo a box that you bought in a store and that you hooked up, TiVo should be a software company, and it should be selling its software to cable companies who simply include the software in their own cable boxes, and they're the ones that install the boxes, just like anytime you call up your cable company and they come and they hook up a cable box to your TV.
Right.
So that would eliminate a lot of the difficulties, which was definitely preventing a lot of people from using this technology. Plus, it would vastly increase the distribution of DVRs because cable companies were in almost every television home and could get the DVR technology, therefore, in an awful lot of those homes. So Comcast was by far the biggest cable company in the country at the time, still is. And so we focused on getting a cable distribution deal with Comcast. And it took most of the entire 2 years I was there, but we got that done. We also want to establish a business with the advertisers. Instead of looking at DVRs as a negative, we wanted to convince the advertisers that the data that we were receiving as to how people responded to their commercials, which ones they watched, which ones they fast forwarded through, when did they fast forward through them, how many times did they see the commercial before they started fast forwarding, all that great data would be of tremendous value to the advertising community. So we started an advertising data business. And the third thing that we had to do, and this was not a particularly fun part, but we had to start suing people for violating our patents. There were a bunch of other people at that point who started using DVR technology, and some of it, we very strongly believe, violated patents that we owned at TiVo. And so we started that lawsuit. Patent lawsuits take a long, long time. But we started it when I was there, and a couple years after I left, we finally won that lawsuit. And it was against Dish Television, the same company we talked about before. And that has been appealed several times, and so far TiVo has won pretty much every appeal on pretty much every issue. And now TiVo is involved in a number of patent lawsuits against some other very, very big companies, and we'll see how that goes. Patent litigation is very, very complicated, takes a long time, costs a lot of money, but so far it's worked out well.